Okay, we're recording this session. So thank you all for joining us today. I know it's a Sunday, rainy Sunday. You've got other things to do, but we wanted to kind of run through some of your data that we pulled up from iReady. And the purpose of this meeting is to kind of go through your data to see where the strengths and weaknesses lie in the students, understand how the students are performing. Let's try to figure out some of those gaps and get the students on their way to being successful. My name is Lisa Rogers.
And I'm Nia Fields. And we appreciate all of you being here. We got representation from the SPED department. We've got some ESOL, some EIP, and a few third grade teachers. So we figure it would be good to have a mix since so many of you work with these different students who possibly are struggling.
So we have to do a needs assessment of your grade level. And what is a needs assessment? I know that you know this, but it's a systematic process that we use to identify and help us to identify gaps between where the students currently are and where we want them to be. So, for example, your grade level, we want to see which students are performing on or above that level of expectation, or we want to see how we can pull those students up that may be a grade level or two grade levels behind to get them to where we need them to be successful either on the milestones or just successful in general.
She just went through what a needs assessment is, and then just pretty much a quick run through of what is iReady. And we're sure that you know what iReady is, but we just figured we would just put this in here. But it's pretty much an online program for reading and math. And at Smyrna, we really focus iReady with the reading aspect. We don't necessarily use it too much for math, but it just allows you to kind of see where your students are. It's got fun games, it has assessments, and then it kind of personalizes the instruction based on where your students are.
And who is assessed using the iReady? So Cobb County uses iReady for K-5 students. That's kindergarten through fifth grade. And we also have a site license that allows us to use iReady for the entire school. So all of our students from K through fifth grade are assessed using the iReady.
And we're fortunate because, like, the county only uses it for those intervention students. So we were
Correct.
fortunate at Smyrna that we can use it for all students. So that's a bonus. So the students are assessed 3 times a year in fall, September-ish, winter around December, and then we are now entering that spring assessment season, as you all know. So bless those of you who are, well, that's basically all of you who probably will be testing, because you got your milestones and then you got your iReady and your beacon and all of that thing. So they are assessed 3 times a year.
And Cobb prefers using, why does Cobb prefer this program? Because iWriting is proven to be effective in increasing reading achievement across the board. So not only does Cobb use iWriting, but this is also used in APS. It's used in DeKalb County. So this is a vetted and tested program that has shown results. So Cobb prefers to use this.
All right, so we've got here the overview of the third grade results, and we know the snip at the bottom is small. We have a larger snip on the upcoming screen, but just kind of want to point out some of the glows and grows. So the majority, 38% of the students for the overall test, we're going to go into the specific domains in a second, but overall, 38% of the students are mid or above grade level for the overall iReady assessment in reading.
And we did 139 students out of 145 were tested so that you can just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, those numbers. But 19% of those students are slightly behind, which means they're like one grade level below.
27% or 2 grade levels below, and they obviously need some intervention.
7% of those are three or more grade levels behind, and that requires significant support. So that would be where the ESOL teachers come in, the special ed teachers come in, that sort of thing for those students.
All right, so here is the winter 2024 assessment window, and that since that snip was so small and we couldn't figure out how to make it bigger without blurring, we created a separate chart so that you can see the students that are above in the specific domain. So looking at it broken down by domains, it looks totally different from how it looked in that overview of on, above, below, and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
we'll give you a second just to kind of take a peek at this and kind of look at this. And then we're going to move on to just those areas where they are 1 grade level below or more. And this is where we're going to start to talk just a little bit and where we want to hear what you're doing in your classroom to help the students who are obviously grasping it, and some other strategies that we can work through as we plan our next portion of this meeting
Right.
that y'all are going to come to because y'all love us so much. Thank you. We'll let you know when. So this pretty much breaks down the areas of need. This is the percentage in the different areas: the informational text, the literature, which is your fiction, comprehension, vocabulary, the high frequency words, and the phonics. So just looking at this, what are you observing and what are you noticing in the areas of need? And I don't know, I'm not to the point where I can unmute people, so you may have to do that on your own. But just kind of the areas of need. What are some things that you're doing? Like obviously the lowest area is the high
High
frequency.
frequency.
But the largest percentage of need is looks almost neck and neck with comprehension and informational reading, which all in literature. So what are some things that you guys are doing in your classroom to kind of help in these areas?
Can you hear
Don't
me?
be shy.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. A strategy that we do is at the end of the page, we stop and talk and summarize what we read.
That's a good one. I'm going to write that down because we're going to look up some research-based strategies to support what you guys are already doing.
Right.
And Lisa, doesn't that sound like that could be done with either that could be comprehension for either fiction or nonfiction?
Or nonfiction. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Third Grade. Anybody else have some strategies that you may use in your room in any of these areas?
Mine is with Esau,
And what do you do from Esau's perspective?
is with nonfiction, and we talk about the main idea of the text, and then I'll have them stop and jot down key details on a Post-it note that I've provided for them.
And you know they love those Post-it notes. Post-it
They
notes are
do.
golden.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to jot that down too. Anything in the realm of vocab
Yeah, that's what
or
I was thinking about.
high frequency or anything like that?
Yes, I was going to say that when we come to a word that the students don't know, I don't I don't really try to make them guess, but I always try to have them look at context clues, what words are around the new word that they're reading, but also doing a lot of pre-teaching.
Right.
So we pre-teach and let them know what kind of words may be coming up in their reading to help them so that they don't get, afraid of reading those words that may have been new to them. So pre-teaching the vocabulary that they see is one thing that we do. And I kind of represent special education, so we don't make them guess, but we do try to pre-teach.
I think that pre-teach strategy would work for everyone. I mean, as a gifted teacher, I find that sometimes they run across words that they don't necessarily know. So I think, to me, that sounds like a great strategy that would benefit a high reader or a low reader.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, the Jessica, one of our ESOL teachers, just messaged and said that she can't unmute. Can we
Okay.
unmute from our end?
Let me see. What about if she types it in the chat?
Well, she texted to me. She said that she likes to use to help with high frequency words.
Okay.
She uses a program called Spelling City, and I remember using it in first grade. And pretty much with Spelling City, from what I remember, you can put in whatever words that you need. So the high frequency words that they're struggling with, they can go in. It's free. That's the best thing. And then it has fun games, and it kind of just runs them through those words. So that's something that she says she has her students who are struggling, like anytime they have downtime or first thing in the morning or when they come in or anything like that, just to kind of give them that extra practice with those high frequency words that they're struggling with.
I mean, I would think that for me, honestly, vocabulary is key, and the phonics portion to really for the students to be able to make some sense of what they're reading, reading and comprehending, I would think. But again, I'm not the specialist in that area, but
Well, Ms. Rogers, I think we've got some good stuff with our team in terms of working on these areas of need, and we'll be able to come back in maybe a few weeks with some research proven strategies that they can possibly put into place in their classes to help get these students' scores up and get their academics and things ready for the next grade level. Can you think of anything else we need to add in, and then that just says another meeting, please.
And we'll,
We'll let you know when.
we'll let you know when.
Hopefully
Thanks
we
for
can
joining
get it
us.
Hopefully we can get it pulled off in the building, but if not, with all the meetings and the IEPs and the testing coordination and all that, we just couldn't make it work. But this seemed to work for everybody, so we are so thankful.
Thank you all.
We are
Thank
very
you.
appreciative. All right, thanks everyone.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.